Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? What's going on? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Today, we're going to talk about how to cure being stuck or getting unstuck. And so today, we're just going to look at a couple of principles. We're going to look at how, listen, it's interesting because, life is made and created in such a way that, man, all these things that we think are in front of us, man, we can we can change those things. So we're going to jump into that today. So guys, if you missed, today is day 5 of our Good Accounting Challenge, guys. And if you missed it, I mean, you technically didn't miss it. There's still another day left. You can always join and try and binge watch, the last 4 days over the weekend before we take down the videos. But the Good Accounting Challenge is for people, who you may not know what your purpose is, and you may not even know what your business is. But it's for people who want to actually, discover both and merge them together, And then if you have a business and if you know the purpose, then it's kind of like bringing it all in, bringing all that in so that literally you don't ever have to go back and forth. That's exactly what I was looking for some years ago. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it happened, so I'm sharing the good news. I'm sharing the good news of how you can do these types of things, and it was free. It may not always be free, but right now it is free. So I'm going to go ahead and leave. I'm going to leave the, the website just so that if you would like to, register, you can still register and potentially watch those videos over the weekend because you're purpose driven. So let's jump right into this. How to cure getting unstuck. So I'm thinking about this from multiple perspectives, guys. And first perspective is business. Like, you're in business, and a lot of times, even me, like we have a hard time, really staying consistent in marketing. I want you to think about it. Marketing. What is marketing? Marketing is this thing that a business has that drives the message that the business has. It's so it could be one message, it could be multiple messages. So marketing is the vehicle that gets the word out. Now here's the thing: marketing and branding is totally different. Marketing, branding is, they're in different realms. Like this podcast initially was like a branding, meaning I was branding the healthy accountant as someone who could help people to account for your life. So I was branding that. I was getting out there. It wasn't making money. It was merely getting my name associated with something, and which is it's probably done a really good job. And so branding is now, but if you're in business, I'm thinking about this. If you're in business and most people are stuck when it comes to marketing. I say stuck because marketing is active. Marketing is getting in front of a person or getting in front of people and literally putting a message in front of them so that they can do something. Branding doesn't do that. Branding is like, yay, and oh, that was cool. That's what branding is. But marketing is putting something in front of people. I learned that from Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, who is he's the father of direct response marketing. Direct response marketing is the only type of marketing that he said you should ever do because by default you build a brand. Now, what does this have to do with curing being stuck? Well, you're a business owner and you're having a hard time marketing. It's not that you don't know what to do, because there's so many things to do. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's the first thing, realizing that, wait a second, you've fallen into and I've fallen into a law that we don't like. What law is that? That's the law of inertia. You know what that means? The law of inertia. If you've been around the podcast, I've been speaking about the law of inertia a lot this year. And so the law of inertia is an object at rest stays at rest until acted upon by an outside force. That's what the law of inertia is. So, but what if you have a job? That's a good one, right? What if you have a job and you've been thinking about starting a business? Man, I've got this thing inside of me. I know that I need to take it out there, and you haven't done anything. You are stuck. Now, you may not think about it in the sense of being stuck, because you're probably like, well, I'm working my job. I'm still doing something. But you have this thing that's been calling you. So technically, a lot of times, inertia is being stuck. It's just you're just sitting there. You're not doing anything. Nothing's happening. That's all stuck is. So instead of saying stuck, we can just say, man, I'm in inertia right now. Inertia. So, but how do I get out of inertia? How do you get out of inertia? Well, let's think of it like this. Before you get out of inertia, before you want to get out of inertia, you got to first do something before you move. This is important. And what is it that you have to do before you move? You got to think big. Before you move, you have to think big. Here's why. You don't want to think small here. See, the worst thing you can do is think small and start moving. And then you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, it's taking long. Like guys, I'm giving you a mistake. I actually made this mistake. I was in inertia and I was thinking too small. And because I was thinking, and I started moving, I started going, but then it's 5 years. Like, what happened? I didn't think big enough. And because I didn't think big enough, then the steps that I was taking when I came out of inertia was too small. They were not actually getting me where I want. Now, I was no longer stuck, but we don't want to just start moving. We don't want to just start saying, oh, I'm no longer stuck. I'm beating the law of inertia, and hopefully I'm building up into the law of momentum. But before we move, if you're not doing anything, if you're stuck, if you're in this law of inertia, you just want to first say, let me think big. Let me think so big, which God can do far more than you can ask for or imagine through the power worketh in you. So what that says is that you can't even think as big as God. So don't worry about it, but you should think as big as you can. Think as big as you can. Right. So when you think as big as you can, it's kind of like 2023 it's in 15 days, guys. 15 days, 2023 around the corner. How big can 2023 be for you? Man, I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Wow, what an amazing year. But here's the thing. You think big. Then now as you move out of inertia, now as you decide to take a step, you have to, the step that you're going to take is going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to feel a little bit bigger than what you might feel right at then. But now we're going to click in one more law before we get out of here. What is that law? The law of courage. That's the law you're going to implement in order to move forward thinking big. Got to have courage. Okay, what is courage? Courage. You know what? That's a good question. What is courage? Courage is doing something that you know is hard. I'm just giving you a definition that I'm coming up with right now. Courage is doing something that you know is hard, doing something that seems bigger than you, doing something that you're not quite sure is going to work, and you step forward anyway. That's courage. So we're coming out of the law of inertia, which was we were stuck at some point. But before we moved, we said, I'm going to create a big, I'm talking about a huge, the idea is going to be so big that it's going to feel like I'm too small. This is what I was teaching inside the Good County Challenge this week. The idea can't be too small for you, baby. Here's why. It came out of you. I'm going to say it again. If you come up with a big idea, it's not too small for you. It came out of you. That's so If it came out of you, then that means you're bigger than what that is. So that moving forward, even though you can implement the law of courage, see, in the law of courage, then it's saying that you're going to move, even though it seems bigger. But then you say, it's not bigger than me. But you might need perfect perseverance. Perseverance is sticking to it. Guys, think about this. You're going to have to stick to it even when it feels like it's not working. Even when it feels like it's not working. Well, the thing is, it's kind of like this podcast. Even though I didn't know what it was doing, I had to persevere moving forward every single day. Just like today, I don't have the luxury because of my schedule. I just decided. Here's what I decided, and I'm gonna let you go in like 1 minute, 2 minutes. I decided that I would do the podcast at a certain time every day, no matter what. Even if I'm just getting back home, which because of my son's schedule and my schedule, I didn't want to be at the gym. I didn't want to be at the gym before he left to go to school. So I said, well, I'm not going to go to the gym until 7:00. And that means that I'm probably not going to get home until just before 9. So that means that I kind of have to know what I'm going to say before I get in the house. I'm going to tell you. This is taking some practice, and look, I've had to persevere not knowing what to say as I press the button to come on live. Had to have so much courage that to know that it doesn't matter. I got a title. It doesn't matter. I've got a word to say. It doesn't matter if anybody comes on, but I know the word is going to come out of me today. Persevering, having courage, even when it seems like nothing's working. So how are you going to get unstuck? All right, first thing you're going to do to get unstuck is you're just going to realize, okay, I'm not moving. That's it. I'm not moving. Okay, that's neither good or bad at this point. Don't beat yourself up. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to think so big. Before you move, you got to think big. Okay, you already got a business. Think bigger than you ever thought. Think about that business. I want you to think so big. Think about it. Don't think about next year. Think about 10 years and 20 years. That's how big you have to think, because that's what's going to help you to persevere. And then once you've got those ideas together, then that's when you can take the first step. But that step is going to feel weird, but it's okay. It's okay, because remember, the idea came out of you, which means that the idea is smaller than you. Then that means that you already have the answers. You just have to catch up to the answers. Because when God created you, when God says, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, to give you a future, to give you hope, and all those good things that's in that passage, that means it was already done. Now you're just going to catch up. You're going to catch up, and you'll never, ever, ever have to ever be stuck again. Make sure if you need to go back and listen to this again, go back and listen to this again. Make sure that before you move, you think big. Make sure that, as you have thought big, you realize that idea came out of you and you are bigger than the idea. And then as you move, do the next best thing. Take the next best step and persevere every day, even when it feels like nothing is working, because you're built for this. God made you for this. God created you in this image. All right, guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.